Welcome to the CompTIA Project Plus Prepcast by baremetalcyber.com. Logs and registers are the backbone of project documentation when it comes to tracking dynamic elements. Unlike static plans, these tools are updated throughout the life of the project to reflect current conditions. They capture issues, risks, changes, and defects in a structured way that promotes transparency and supports decision-making. They also serve as formal records, providing proof of due diligence during audits and reviews. The issue log is one of the most active tracking tools during execution. It captures problems that are currently impacting the project, anything from resource shortages to technical failures. Each entry records details such as severity, status, the person responsible for resolving it, and the agreed resolution. Having these documented ensures that no problem is overlooked and that there's a clear path to resolution. Maintaining the issue log means updating it regularly, not just when there's time. Items should be tracked from the point they are detected through root cause analysis, interim actions, and final closure. Reviewing the log in team meetings or during escalation sessions keeps it visible and ensures timely follow-up. It also gives the team a shared understanding of what's being addressed and by whom. A well-structured issue log contains certain key fields. These typically include a description of the issue, its impact on scope, schedule, or budget, a priority ranking, and the owner responsible for action. Important dates: when the issue was identified, when the response started, and when it was resolved, should be recorded. Notes can document the history of decisions made, attempted solutions, and next steps if the problem persists. The risk register serves a different purpose, focusing on potential events that may or may not occur. It lists known risks with details like probability, impact, and the planned response strategy. This document is a living artifact, meant to evolve as the project progresses and as the external environment changes. It's not only a record, but also a planning tool for managing uncertainty. Updating the risk register is part of proactive risk management. Regular reviews ensure that planned responses remain relevant as conditions change. New risks should be added promptly, while risks that have been resolved or avoided should be marked as closed. This continuous upkeep ensures the register reflects the actual risk landscape at any given time. Risk registers often include more than just basic descriptions. Common fields include the risk owner, specific trigger conditions that would indicate the risk is materializing, and the response strategy, whether that's avoidance, mitigation, transfer, or acceptance. Some registers go further by assigning quantitative or qualitative scores and tracking financial exposure or contingency plans tied to each risk. The change log is the record of scope adjustments, whether requested or approved, that occurred during the project. It documents where the request came from, the analysis performed to understand its impact, the decision made, and how it was implemented. Without a disciplined change log, scope creep can go undetected and disrupt delivery. Change control begins with a documented request or proposal. The change log records the results of the impact analysis, detailing the effect on time, cost, and quality. It then tracks whether the request was approved or rejected and follows it through to implementation. This life cycle view keeps the entire team and stakeholders informed on the status of each change. Governance around change logs often includes noting the decision-makers involved, sometimes a formal change control board, and recording when the review took place. Capturing meeting outcomes and next steps builds accountability and creates a clear audit trail. In regulated environments, this level of detail is often a requirement rather than a preference. The defect log is common in IT, quality assurance, and systems development projects. It records defects found during testing or operational phases, noting their severity, potential impact, and what remediation is required. Each defect entry becomes part of the plan for correction, ensuring that nothing identified is left unresolved. Defect logs play a central role in quality assurance and user acceptance testing. They help teams prioritize which issues to fix first based on severity or frequency. They can also reveal patterns, such as recurring problems in a certain component, that point to root causes needing systemic correction. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Project logs rarely operate in isolation. Many are interconnected. An unresolved risk that materializes can appear in the issue log. A defect discovered in testing might require a scope change, creating an entry in the changelog. These relationships give the project manager a full picture of how events are influencing delivery and help in spotting trends that could point to deeper process issues. Integration into project management tools streamlines log usage. Many platforms, like Jira, Trello, or Microsoft Project, offer built-in modules for issue, risk, and change tracking. When logs are part of the same system as your task and schedule management, updates become easier and reports more consistent. Automated workflows can route entries for review or approval without manual intervention, saving time and reducing errors. Access and permissions for logs must be managed carefully. Sensitive information, such as high-impact risks, contractual changes, or defects with security implications, should only be visible to those who need it. Project managers often have full access, while team leads or subject matter experts may have rights to edit specific sections. This balance protects the integrity of the logs while still enabling collaboration. Escalation paths are another important feature. Many logs include a field for escalation level or status, ensuring that time-sensitive items reach the right decision-makers promptly. For example, a critical defect may need immediate attention from the QA lead, while a budget-impacting change might go straight to the sponsor or change control board. Clearly defined escalation protocols improve response times and accountability. Governance dictates how often logs should be reviewed. In well-run projects, logs are part of regular status meetings, phase gate reviews, or governance board sessions. This ensures they align with policy and serve as active management tools rather than passive records. Logs that are ignored between reviews quickly lose their effectiveness. From a compliance perspective, logs can be vital. Regulators and auditors often request them to verify that the project followed its defined processes. Change logs are particularly important in regulated industries, as they demonstrate how scope adjustments were handled and whether they were approved through the correct channels. Documenting the why and how behind each decision supports defensibility and transparency. Visualization can make logs easier to interpret. Risk registers, for example, can be turned into heat maps that highlight where the highest exposures lie. Issue dashboards can track trends in severity or the number of aging items. Visuals make it easier for stakeholders to understand priorities and progress without reading through long lists. There are also common pitfalls in managing logs. Letting them go stale means the information is no longer reliable. Using inconsistent terminology or failing to capture all required details can create confusion. Allowing logs to become informal or ad hoc tracked in emails or personal notes erodes transparency and makes it harder to demonstrate control. Training the team on how to use logs correctly is essential. Everyone needs to understand what qualifies as a log entry, when it should be added, and how to keep it updated. Clear guidance improves the quality of the information captured and reinforces accountability. This is particularly important for cross-functional projects where different groups may have their own documentation habits. When the project closes, logs should be finalized and archived. Open items may be handed off to operational teams, but the project's own versions should be locked for historical reference. These final versions become part of the lessons learned process, supporting future planning and risk management. Linking logs to lessons learned creates a feedback loop. Reviewing the issue and defect logs can reveal process or quality gaps. Risk registers can help build better risk identification checklists for the next project. Change logs may highlight patterns in scope requests, guiding more accurate planning in the future. Automation can further improve log management. Dashboards tied directly to log updates can generate alerts when thresholds are exceeded or deadlines approach. This reduces manual oversight and ensures that time-sensitive issues don't get buried. Automation also helps keep stakeholders informed without requiring constant manual reporting. Not every project needs every type of log, but the absence of a log should be a deliberate choice, not an oversight. The project manager should tailor the set of logs to match the project's complexity, domain, and governance requirements. Simplicity is valuable, but it must never come at the expense of visibility or accountability. By managing logs and registers effectively, you create a living record of project health and decision-making. This supports better control during execution, clearer communication with stakeholders, and a strong audit trail when the project is complete. Thank you for listening. Please follow baremetalcyber.com on social media and check out our books at cyberauthor.me.